All right, today we are diving deep into the very heart of Bangladesh's economy, its huge shipping and logistics sector. Now, this isn't just a story about ports and giant container ships. No, it's about a nation that's really at a crossroads, getting ready for a massive, game-changing transformation. Let's get right into it.
Look at this. Over 90%. Just let that number sink in for a second. Almost everything, the clothes you wear, the phone parts, the cars, pretty much anything that comes into or goes out of Bangladesh does it on a ship. This makes the country's ports its absolute economic lifeline, period.
And we're talking about a massive scale here, you know? With a population of over 175 million people, how well that lifeline works, or doesn't work, has a direct impact on the lives of this huge, dynamic workforce.
So it's really no surprise that all the big economists have their eyes on Bangladesh. It's been flagged as one of the next 11 emerging markets. And what that really means is it has incredible potential to become a major player in the global economy this century.
And believe me, the rest of the world is paying attention. Just in 2024, the country pulled in over $1.2 billion in foreign direct investment. That's a huge vote of confidence from the global market right there. So, that brings us to our first big topic. If you really want to understand Bangladesh's ambition, you first have to get just how deeply its economy is tied to the water. This is the engine room of the whole operation. What's really fascinating is how all these different pieces connect. Its location is perfect, a natural gateway. Then you add in the competitive labor costs and these new service and digital sectors that are just booming, and you've got the recipe for an export powerhouse. But, and this is a big but, all of it depends on one thing. Can they move goods efficiently?
And this isn't just about one type of product. The country's exports are super diverse. We're talking everything from jute and leather goods to that massive ready-made garment industry. The government even offers cash incentives just to keep that export engine running at full steam. And every single one of those products needs a port, a ship, and a truck to get to you.
Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work, on the ground? How does a t-shirt get from a factory floor in Dhaka all the way to a store shelf in London or New York? Let's trace that journey.
Well, it's kind of like a complicated multi-step dance. It all starts with ocean freight. That's the heavy lifting. But a container isn't going anywhere until it clears customs, which is a whole world of crazy paperwork. From there, it usually goes into a warehouse for storage. And then, finally, comes the last step, road freight. The trucks that handle that super important final mile to the destination.
And this is what that dance looks like in action. It's the seamless handoff from the sea to the land. You've got this vast, interconnected network of ships, cranes, and trucks, all supposed to be working together perfectly. When this system works, the economy just sings. But what happens when it doesn't?
And that question brings us to the core problem here. For all its importance, Bangladesh's logistics sector has been navigating some really choppy waters. There's a lot of hidden friction in the system that's slowing everything down.
This quote from some maritime researchers just cuts right to the chase. See, Bangladesh has agreed to all these international rules, but it's been really slow to actually write them into its own laws and then enforce them. And that creates this huge gap between what they promise and what actually happens on the ground.
And when you look at it like this, that gap is just, wow, it's stark. On one side, you have them signing on to the gold standards for safety, pollution, and training. But then on the other side, the day-to-day reality is a mess of outdated laws, weak enforcement, and agencies that don't talk to each other. It's a major disconnect.
And that disconnect, it leads to real expensive problems. We're talking laws that were written for a different era, a system that still runs on paper in a digital world, not enough people or money to enforce the rules, and ports that are just struggling to keep up. It all just adds up to massive bottlenecks and delays.
But here's where the story takes a turn. The government knows this is a problem, and they've introduced a really ambitious solution, the National Logistics Policy 2025. This is their blueprint to completely transform the entire system.
To put it simply, this thing is a master plan. It's the very first time they've had a single, unified strategy to fix that fragmented system we were just talking about. The goal is to go right after those high costs, the tangled up regulations, and all those inefficiencies.
So how's it going to work? Well, the policy is built on three really powerful pillars. First, a huge push on infrastructure, modernizing ports, transport, you name it, to get rid of those bottlenecks. Second, they're streamlining all the rules to simplify customs and cut through the red tape. And third, a massive digital transformation to finally bring the whole system into the 21st century.
And the long-term vision here is incredibly bold. This isn't just about fixing a few problems. It's about grabbing an opportunity. The ultimate goal is to turn Bangladesh into a dominant, super competitive trade and logistics hub for the entire region by 2050.
Okay, so this brings us to the road ahead. Because having a plan on paper is one thing, but actually making it happen on the ground, well, that's a whole different challenge.
And let's be clear, the stakes could not be higher. If they can pull this off, it means unlocking unbelievable economic potential for the country. It means making Bangladesh a much stronger competitor on the world stage, which attracts more investment and creates real, sustainable growth for millions of people.
Which kind of leaves us with this final big question. The country has a bold new plan. The ambition is definitely there. But as a blueprint, no matter how great it looks, enough to overcome decades of problems and build a true global logistics powerhouse? Watching that journey from policy to reality is going to be fascinating.